Moving people is the very essence of organising. One of the main roles of organisers and delegates is to gain the commitment of the member or potential member to do something. Closure is jargon from the sales world. It's a technique to gain commitment from someone. It might be to join the union or to talk to 5 other people about the issues. When we get to this point, many of us shy away. Do you enjoy selling raffle tickets? There comes a point when we actually have to ask the person for the money or for a commitment. And for many of us, it can be an uncomfortably tense moment in the conversation. It's called the raffle ticket cringe. You'll know the feeling if you've ever been asked to sell raffle tickets and ended up buying them yourself. Why do most people feel this way? You'd have to ask a psychologist. But hundreds of organisers and delegates describe this feeling or barrier at the point of closure. It's healthy that we actually admit to it. When we feel this way, 2 things usually happen. We avoid seeking commitment, or we fudge our closure. It's human nature to avoid the crunch, to back away from seeking commitment. It's a way of avoiding rejection or embarrassment. But avoiding closure has pretty significant consequences for our ability to strengthen our unions. The other approach is to fudge the closure. Instead of saying,
"Yeah, I can see we'd have a better chance in negotiations with management if they knew we were together."
That's why we need you to be a union member. Here's the form.
we say something like,
"Would you like to join? It's okay if you want to think about it. I'll get someone else to follow you up later if you want."
Because we're not comfortable, we give the other person an out, a way to avoid the commitment. And guess what? If you give the person the option not to join or not to commit to getting more involved, many will take it. Chris, are there some techniques that can help us overcome the cringe?
It's important to remember that potential members aren't doing us a favour to join their union. They should be doing it for themselves. Workers often have a preconception about unions, and as a result they hesitate making any decision, giving any commitment.
So what can we do about that?
Sometimes you've got to be a bit pushy. You've got to push them to make a decision, not make it too easy for them to walk away.
But many of us feel uncomfortable about being pushy.
We do. That's why we recommend you learn a couple of lines that are used at that point of closure. Go into autopilot if you like.
Yes, but what if they still don't join?
If you've done everything possible and they still haven't joined, you've got to say to yourself, well, it's their loss. They're not doing us a favour to join the union. We recommend that you always leave the door open, however.
Let's look at some closure techniques. There are 4 main techniques to gain commitment: direct close, suggestion close, choice close, and summary close. With each of the forms of closure, it can be useful to briefly revisit the issue or problem identified at the start.
You want to do something about the roster issue? All that's left to do is to fill out the form.
Hand the membership application form to the worker with a pen. If you've already filled most of it out, this helps.
To join and get this moving, all you need to do is fill out the form. I've got one here in my bag.
As we discussed earlier, if we're going to move this situation, we need your support. The first step is to fill out this form.
So that we have a better understanding of what's happening, we need you to talk to a couple of others and meet me off-site.
If you talk to 3 or 4 others in your area and see what they think of the issue, that'd be a great help.
I can't do this without you. If you can find a contact or key person in each of the departments or shifts, that'll help get a good collective agreement.
We need to be able to communicate effectively with everyone in this workplace. You'd make a great contact in your area. That'll mean talking to the other people in your area and coming to our meeting to work out what to do next.
Notice each line as a statement suggesting a positive course of action.
I suggest you join, and then you'll be protected from now on, and we can start working together to resolve these issues.
Because you're so concerned about what's happening, I suggest you join. Then we can get things moving.
You are the person people look to for direction. You are the person we need to be actively involved.
I'd suggest rather than hand out the surveys yourself, find a person from each team and ask them to do it.
Our first step here is to map the workplace and to know where we have members and where we don't, and what the issues are from each area. And that's where we need to start.
By avoiding asking a question that has a yes or no answer, the statements don't give people an opportunity for an out. Why avoid a yes or no answer? Well, sometimes when people are asked to join and they say no, they feel obligated to defend their decision. It's difficult to shift them from the no position. However, there is a time questions can be useful.
Would you prefer to pay for a year up front, or would you prefer direct debit where you can pay a fortnightly amount?
Would you prefer to be the delegate or simply the contact for your area?
Would you prefer to go to management on your own to raise an individual grievance, or would it be better to get other people involved?
What do you think will happen if we do nothing? Nothing will change, right? So we have a choice. Do nothing and live with it, or try to do something to change things for the better.
You'll notice from the choice clause that you provide the person with two options, either of which you're happy with, or you use the two options to create the dilemma in the worker's mind and highlight the necessity to take the option that you prefer. The summary close technique goes over what you've already discussed and the reasons why the decision is so obvious. It works very effectively if you get the worker to nod and acknowledge each point as you go through the summary.
OK, Sam, let me see if I've got this right. We've discussed the importance of the issue and how strongly you feel about it. And we've discussed the importance of working together if we're going to get a result. So now, all that's left for you to do is to fill in the form.
As you agreed, we'll be far more effective if we go to the employer on behalf of 90% of the workforce rather than 20%. So we need your help to get the others involved. Here's the first step.
We've talked about the union being there to help people at an individual level. We've talked about the importance of people here in supporting each other to get a better deal. And we've talked about the importance of the union in this sector or industry. We also mentioned that the union fees are only a small percentage of your wage, and you get more than your money's worth by becoming a member. All you need to do is fill in this form. You'll immediately become a member and you'll receive your membership card in a couple of weeks.
As we discussed, we need to improve communication here. We find it really helps to have a contact in each area and then us just meet together off-site once a fortnight for a while. As you said, you thought that might be workable, so we need your help to put it in place.
Will it work? We have a saying, 3 strikes and you're out. In other words, if you try the closure and it's not successful, attempt to handle the objection, go back to the issue, re-attempt the close. If it doesn't work after 2 or 3 attempts, leave it to another day. These two techniques go together. This can be demonstrated with a very common objection. I'll think about it.
Well, all that's left to do is fill out the form.
Look, Jane, I just need to think about it a bit more.
Yep, it's an important decision. I understand you might need some time to think about it. While I'm here, is there anything else you need to know? We talked about how important it is to work on this together, what the first steps need to be. So, do you have any other questions?
No.
Any concerns or worries about joining the union?
Well, no.
Well, great. If you haven't got any more questions or concerns about joining, then I suggest you fill it out straight away and then we can get things moving.
I just need to think about it a bit more, Jane.
Yeah, I understand, Henry. Look, I don't want to sound pushy about this, Henry, but what I find is people get the bit of paper and they just stick it in the bottom drawer. You know how it goes. And when they come back to it, it could be too late. Well, as you said earlier, you really want to do something about what's happening here, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, this is an important first step.
Geez, you drive a hard bargain. All right, where do I sign?
Just There. And fill out that bit too.
Is this approach too pushy? Won't it do more damage than good?
It is true, you can go too far. The question is it the worker that's feeling we've gone too far, or is it just us feeling uncomfortable?
So what do you mean?
We often rationalise that the reason we're not pushing the worker to make a decision is that it'll work against our objective, that they won't like what we've done. I don't think we go anywhere near that line.
Well, can you give us an example?
Well, at the point of closure, workers often hesitate making a decision. At that point, we often give them an out instead of encouraging them to make a decision.
Sometimes delegates feel uncomfortable asking colleagues to join because they have to work with them. They're concerned that if the worker doesn't agree to join, they'll feel uncomfortable next time they see each other. Here are some closure lines that can help overcome this.
Believe me, I don't enjoy having to hassle you about membership. But I'm doing it anyway, because it's really important if we're going to improve this place.
I'm concerned that asking you to join us and get active will cause a strain between us. Now, I don't want that to happen, but I really believe membership is important.
You may be able to come up with better ones yourself. Good luck. But can I leave you with 2 points? First, I hope you start to practice these techniques straight away so that they sink in. Second, we're using them because it's in the interests of the worker for them to be in their union, to act collectively to improve their own situation. Remember, they're not doing us a favour. They're doing it to help themselves.